I'm Dave Froehlich. Thanks for watching this Crime Watch digital exclusive, where we take a look back at recent crime stories that have been making headlines in our area and across the state. A nonprofit in Southeast Austin recently had about $100,000 worth of vehicles and equipment stolen from their office. Now they're trying to regroup. Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shen spoke to the nonprofit, who says this is the second burglary in just a few weeks, and now they're increasing security.
The nonprofit Tree Folks has a mission to plant and care for trees. But their growth was stunted when they discovered Saturday morning their front gate broken, trucks stolen, 2 cars vandalized.
It was an instant of who would do this?
Plus a lawnmower, weed trimmer, chainsaw, and carts taken from their storage containers.
And here are the locks that were busted and pulled off of there. You know, not dinky locks.
And this wasn't the first burglary. Executive Director Andrew Smiley says this truck was stolen a few weeks ago and found wrecked on the side of the road.
And just busted out the whole grill.
The nonprofit now out about $100,000 while gearing up for planting season.
There's never really a good time for a burglary, but this was not great in terms of what happened. It was a little deflating.
They've since put up temporary cameras and will be adding more security measures like permanent cameras, stronger locks, and motion lights.
If we were to find the folks who did this, my hope is that they would find some way, they would find some reform. Of course, I'm angry at the person, but I also understand that they're probably not in their best place right now.
The burglary taking away not just money, but time.
It distracts our staff from our core purpose. Our staff is now working to get our vehicles repaired. Our staff is having to interact with the sheriff's office to provide information for the police report. We're dealing with the insurance company.
But they're grateful for the outpouring of positivity.
What's been pretty uplifting is the amount of community support.
An Austin ISD band and choir teacher accused of having an improper relationship with a student is now facing 6 felony charges. Here's more on that story from Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis.
After just 1 year as the band, piano, and choir teacher at LBJ Early College High School in Austin, 41-year-old Rodney Childers is facing many years behind bars after a parent reported he was having an inappropriate relationship with her son. The parent told Austin ISD police her son had received multiple deposits of money through Cash App. The total was almost $2,300 over a 6-month period. She says there were 57 transactions from February to July this year. The parent told detectives Childers had taken her son to get a haircut without her permission. She confronted him about it. She says he acknowledged he should have gotten her approval and that it was against school policy for him to provide these things to her child. But she says overall, he downplayed the accusations. The victim told police Childers had sexual intercourse with him several times. Once was on June 26th. The student says Childers took him to a video pornography adult store in Northeast Austin and had sex with him in the parking lot. Court documents say Childers communicated with the victim through Instagram, band app, and text messages. The victim told police the two of them had exchanged explicit sexual images through those different messaging apps. The student also says Childers purchased multiple electronic vapes and marijuana smoking pens. Austin ISD Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Schools sent a letter to parents saying when the allegations were reported last Thursday, Childers was immediately placed on administrative leave. She says, quote, "We are doing everything we can to understand how this incident occurred to prevent situations like this in the future." Childers was arrested by the Round Rock Police Department on Wednesday and charged with 3 counts of improper relationship between an educator and student, 2 counts of indecency with a child, and child grooming. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Another man has pleaded guilty for his involvement in a North Austin mail robbery scheme. 19-year-old Cody Smith pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail robbery and another count of conspiracy. According to court documents, Smith worked with 5 others to steal master keys from letter carriers. Meanwhile, 4 of Smith's co-defendants, who've also pleaded guilty, will be sentenced next month, and a 6th suspect was arrested in St. Louis. In 2023, several Mail thefts were caught on camera in the Austin area. Because of thefts like these, the U.S. Postal Service has increased security nationwide, replacing thousands of locks. In 2023, across the country, more than 400 letter carriers were robbed on the job, and about 39,000 mail theft incidents were reported. A teen charged with murdering a man in Travis County in 2023 was able to bond out of jail. Now he's back behind bars, charged with multiple felonies in Hays County. The victim's mother says the system has failed. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has more.
He was a very loving, caring person, hardworking.
On May 15th, 2023, Julieta Serrano's son, 19-year-old Brian, was killed in Southeast Austin.
I was in shock.
Court documents say at around 3 a.m, Serrano was found shot dead in a car near the park on Springfield Drive. The passenger survived and told police multiple men got out of the car. She believed she was being robbed. She says she tried to wake Serrano so they could drive away, but the gunfire started before they could leave. A witness told police then 17-year-old Irvin Coronado Palacio shot Serrano 30 times with an AR. Coronado Palacio was originally charged with capital murder and aggravated robbery. A grand jury indictment reduced the charges to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and murder, making him eligible for bond. On August 30th, 2023, a visiting judge, retired Travis County District Court Judge John Weiser, set the bond to $150,000.
So $15,000 is what a life meant to Travis County. I was not in agreeing to that.
The Travis County District Attorney claims they didn't agree either and raised an objection to the bond amount in court. But as of Thursday afternoon, a formal motion was never filed with the clerk's office.
He doesn't deserve a second chance to be out in the community. He's a threat to the community, to society. He took a life. He did it once, he can do it again. In December, Coronado Palacio posted bond and was released. It has been difficult waiting and not knowing what he's up to, like what could he do next? And well, the worst happened. On Tuesday, Coronado Palacio was arrested in Hays County. I told you so. Coronado Palacio is charged with trafficking a person and 2 counts of sexual assaults of a child. Now there's more people ruined because of him, because he was released out on such a low bond. Retired Judge Weiser told Fox 7 Thursday afternoon he thought the bond was high enough. He says he was surprised someone was able to get out on a bond that high. And if the attorney didn't think it was high enough, they could have easily increased it. He says almost a year has gone by, and in his humble opinion, he thinks the case should have been resolved by now.
I think they should have advocated more strongly that he not be released. There is good reasons that he not be released. It did not used to be the norm that murderers got released into our community. Travis County has failed Brian and the rest of the victims.
Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin, CrimeWatch.
A man accused of armed robbery is dead after being shot in what appears to be a case of self-defense. Austin police say 51-year-old Hao Lee shot 57-year-old Chum Prum on July 24th. It's happened outside the Taste of Home handmade dumpling restaurant on North Lamar and Kramer. After being shot, Prum went home on his bicycle, but was later taken to the hospital where he died 4 days later. Lee called 911 the day of the shooting, telling dispatchers Prum tried to rob him with a knife. So far, no charges have been filed against Lee. The case has been handed to the Travis County District Attorney's Office for further review. Case is starting to move forward against the cement truck driver involved in that deadly school bus crash earlier this year. A little boy on the Hays CISD bus and the driver of another vehicle were both killed in that crash. Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shen has more.
Jerry Hernandez is charged with criminally negligent homicide for his involvement in a crash on March 22nd. Hernandez was driving a cement truck. Authorities say he hit a school bus coming back from a field trip to the zoo in Bastrop County. 44 students and 11 adults were on the bus. 5-year-old Ulysses Rodriguez Montoya was killed, along with 33-year-old Ryan Wallace in a vehicle behind the bus. Many more were injured.
There's multiple shirtless men out here just because a lot of the kids had gashes and people were just bleeding heavily. So we tried to do what we could until EMS got on scene.
The Hayes CISD superintendent said after the crash it could have been much worse, praising the bus driver.
There was a concrete truck that went over the yellow line and hit our bus, and she was able to take an evasive right and keep the bus from being hit squarely. And I think she saved all the rest of the lives as a result of her driving ability.
According to the arrest affidavit, Hernandez admitted to using marijuana the night before and cocaine in the early morning and only slept 3 hours the night before. Court paperwork says he previously tested positive for drug use and already had a prohibited driving status in a federal database. His employer, FJM Concrete, is accused of not checking the database before hiring him. The U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration ordered him to stop driving any commercial vehicle in April. In a hearing in Bastrop County Monday, prosecutors said a grand jury is expected to meet Tuesday. Hernandez has a new court-appointed attorney. That change happening at the beginning of the month. Neither the prosecutors nor defense attorney commenting Monday. The next hearing is scheduled for October 28th.
Police are looking for the person who ran over and killed someone in North Austin. Happened on North Lamar, just south of Breaker on August 4th, around 2 a.m. Officers say a still unidentified person died at the crash site, and the driver who was responsible was nowhere to be found. If you know anything about this deadly hit and run, you are asked to please report it to Austin Police. Bastrop man's in federal prison for sexual exploitation of a child. This case was part of a national project aimed at protecting children and prosecuting predators. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has the story.
We're coming. We're going to find you.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Tracy Thompson's message to predators. And in August last year, a Bastrop man was found with images and videos depicting child sexual abuse on his phone. Court documents say 41-year-old Stuart Mitchell Piper was on a social networking app posting multiple images depicting the sexual abuse of children and discussing how he was grooming female children for sexual activity. He pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of a minor, and last month he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison.
Every day there are new victims that are abused and exploited online.
Thompson says Project Safe Childhood works to identify and rescue victims.
The goal is to protect children.
This national initiative, started in 2006, uses local, state, and federal resources to locate, arrest, and prosecute people.
They become very, very creative in how they get access to children. And a lot of times it's in ways that parents would never guess. They couldn't fathom that that's how their child got contacted by somebody online.
She says a lot of the time it's through social media accounts.
Law enforcement has done a tremendous job staying on top of the technology and infiltrating these groups that they think are completely anonymous, and finding these people and apprehending them. But it's hard because everybody has a digital device. Little kids have digital devices. Schools give out devices. I mean, there's just no way to avoid being on the internet.
So Thompson says in order to help protect children, parents should encourage life experiences without technology.
If you communicate with your children and spend time with your children and establish that relationship, that helps. Know what they're doing. Don't let them live online. They can be online for certain things, but don't let that be their world.
Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch.
Kyle Woman is out on bond from the Hayes County Jail. She's the owner of an adoption company that's accused of paying pregnant inmates in Tarrant County for their unborn babies. Jody Hall is facing charges of sale or purchase of a child. Fox's Deion Anglin has the latest on the investigation.
Court documents show the attorney exchanged text messages with pregnant inmates using county-issued computer tablets and made transactions using those devices. She is also accused of using threats if the inmates did not follow through with her plan. 68-year-old adoption attorney Jody Hall faces 2 charges of the sale or purchase of a child. The case follows a sheriff's department investigation involving Hall and what officials call her suspicious activity at the Tarrant County Jail. In a news release, sheriff's officials say information was discovered that Hall was paying money to multiple pregnant Tarrant County inmates for the purpose of placing their unborn children up for adoption with Hall's agency. Late this afternoon, Tarrant County shared a probable cause affidavit detailing the allegations involving Hall, whom they say added $846 to one inmate's account and tried to arrange a connection with the inmate's boyfriend so he could sign papers giving up his rights to their child. The documents include text messages between Hall and the inmate. At one point, Hall says, "I don't need birth moms that lie to me just to get financial support, and I can't give you any more if he's not willing to sign the paperwork." Online records indicate Hall runs an organization called Adoptions International Incorporated. There are also federal records that the agency's accreditation was suspended and then canceled in 2019. The Intercountry Adoption Accreditation and Maintenance entity stated the cancellation was handed to Hall for failing to maintain substantial compliance with accreditation standards. Sheriff's officials say Tarrant County deputies and Texas Rangers served 2 warrants and arrested Hall at her home in Kyle, Texas, south of Austin. She was booked into the Hays County Jail on July 23rd. The Sheriff's Department declined an on-camera interview about the investigation. Hall is out of jail on $50,000 bond. Deon Anglin, Fox 4 News.
Senator Ted Cruz is pushing for congressional support for a bill called the Justice for Jocelyn Act. This bill is named after a 12-year-old Houston girl who prosecutors say was murdered by 2 undocumented immigrants. Fox's Stephen Dial has more.
I will now never stop fighting for justice to be served for her.
12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray was brutally murdered in Houston back in June. The 2 suspects crossed into the country illegally from Venezuela. The men were awaiting their immigration hearing when the crime occurred.
And I refused to let her voice go unheard.
Alexis Nungaray is Jocelyn's mother. She says the men should not have been out of federal custody. Senator Ted Cruz said the men were in Homeland Security's Alternative to Detention program, despite there being enough space to continue to hold them. That discrepancy is part of the Justice for Jocelyn Act. If law, the bill would prevent migrants from being released to the program until all available detention beds are filled.
There were detention beds available, about 3,000 detention beds that were sitting there empty.
The law would also require GPS tracking and a curfew. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg, who is a Democrat, joined Senator Cruz in the press conference.
It will make us safer. And because crime is bigger than partisanship. You know, if Justice for Jocelyn had already been the law of the land, there's a good likelihood that Jocelyn Nungaray would be alive today.
Border security is a priority issue for Republicans and in national polling. Senator Cruz used the opportunity to again criticize the Biden-Harris administration for what he calls security failures on the border. I reached out to the campaign for Dallas Congressman Colin Allred, who is running against Cruz for Senate.
I'm working with both parties to finally secure the border. To add more border patrol.
Me to a new ad released Friday in Texas that cites Allred's work with Republicans on a bipartisan border bill that would have hired more border agents, sped up the backlog of immigration cases, and funding for more technology. That bill died in the Senate after former President Donald Trump urged Republicans not to take action on it. With this case, Cruz says this crime could have been prevented, in his words, because the suspects would have remained in custody or been sent back to their country of origin.
There is evil in the world. And so in my time in the Senate, I've consistently been fighting to secure the border.
Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you miss them, you can watch anytime on our new Fox Local Connected TV app, which is free to download, and you can watch on multiple platforms like Roku and Apple TV. Just scroll down from the live player and look for the Crime Watch section. Now, for more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com, and don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.